It's our last day in the Appalachians before we can appreciate some relatively flat riding to the Atlantic Ocean. We will hit Charlottesville early on the ride today, then pass through Virginia wine country en route to Palmyra. Like Lexington, Charlottesville is a university town, and the Transamerica Trail takes us through the heart of the University of Virginia campus and an impressive statue of Thomas Jefferson outside of the Rotunda, a building designed by Jefferson himself.
I've had better breakfasts, but I've also had worse.
Good morning, it's Saturday, July 20th, day 66 of this adventure. We are departing Crozet, a city that really impressed me. Wow, beautiful buildings, schools, restaurants. Paul liked that there was 3 coffee shops. Most towns have 0 coffee shops, and he is a coffee connoisseur. Appreciated that. And I'm grateful to the Tabor Presbyterian Church for hosting us last night in their great facility with a shower, a washer and dryer. That was great. Original plan was to go to Palmyra today, but we are extending that. We're going to turn a 3-day stretch in the plan into a 2-day stretch. Or was it a 4-day stretch into a 3-day stretch? One of the two, but we're shaving off a day. So instead of stopping in Palmyra, we're going on to Mineral, where we are not sure of our accommodation for the night, hoping that the volunteer fire department still hosts cyclists and we can get in. Beautiful quiet morning this morning. Oh, and rain was in the forecast, like starting at 8 a.m. So we expected last night, we're gonna have to ride in the rain the next day. But now it's out of the forecast until 3 p.m. and we should be done by then. So hopefully a precipitation-free riding day. Whee! Don't hit a deer! Oh, now I'm climbing up from that river. I'm gonna get out of breath talking. But if you want to see deer, leave Crozet at 5:30 a.m. on the Transamerica Trail headed eastbound. I've seen 15 already this morning in groups of no more than 4. I saw a buck and 3 doe. I saw a doe and 2 fawns. And then others were 1 or 2 doe at a time. Really special.
During segregation, Charlottesville, Virginia built 4 parks for white visitors and only 1 for blacks. The one for blacks was built on the site of a garbage dump. A city law made it illegal for a church to be led by a black pastor. In 2017, the city removed statues of Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson from public parks and became the subject of national news coverage. In more uplifting news, let's talk about a great example of a desegregated musical group. Dave Matthews Band was formed here in Charlottesville, and many of their records were recorded in a studio here. Today, the band members do a lot in their hometown to promote the arts and disadvantaged youth. A few other prominent Charlottesville residents include actor Rob Lowe, authors William Faulkner and John Grisham, quarterback Howie Long, and Presidents Thomas Jefferson and James Monroe.
Found a unique breakfast place that makes waffle sandwiches. The Palmyra Monticello Trail parallels our route, and it looks like for about 2 miles. So hard-packed gravel, and this will be a fun little escape from the road for a few minutes this morning. Correction, it's the Saunders Monticello Trail, not the Palmyra Monticello Trail. last 2 stops, Paul and I have been pondering and now decided to deviate from Route 76, the bike route Trans Am, for about 80 miles to get from where we're at now to Richmond. Reason is we're staying in more central Richmond. A friend of mine has family members there, so we're staying in central Richmond, but the Trans Am comes from the north down through Ashland and skirts around the east side of Richmond, and we're going to take a more direct route. It'll shave off some miles, and the other thing is we really didn't have a firm grasp on accommodations in Mineral, and so we thought, well, we might as well go a direct route and work out accommodations on this one, which we also don't have a firm grasp on either. There's no hotels here. Only one campground I saw was off route, but a city called Goochville, Goochville, Goochville is 40 miles away, which we're hoping could be our overnight stop. In there's a few churches in town, but it's Saturday. It might be hard to find somebody at the churches. And what I also think is promising is that there's an outdoor store in Goochville, which they might have knowledge of. Oh yeah, here's where you can stay, here's where you can pitch a tent, here's where you can set up under shelter, because that rain that wasn't supposed to start till 3 is, it's coming down as a drizzle right now, and it's only 9:30 a.m. so we're expecting to be riding in some rain today, and certainly don't want to camp in any rain. That's the update. Somebody out there hates us. A sign that said, "Share the road with bicyclists." Somebody in black spray paint had X'd out "Share the road." Those are the sort of people that honk at us. We're now on the correct road out of town. I took us out of town on the incorrect road and added a few miles unnecessarily to our trip. Paul was gracious and kind about it. I was in charge there and I blew it. So now we are on the correct road, headed to a small little dot on the map called Kids Store, Kidds. They do have a convenience store there, and that's we're on the 620, and in Kids Store we will turn onto the 6, and the 6 goes all the way into Richmond. It's an east-west route, and that's going to be our connection back to get on the Transamerica Trail. Another reason for this route deviation is we were speaking with a local yesterday who said, yeah, that corridor between Ashland and Richmond, when the Route 76 was created 50 years ago, 48 years ago, that was all farmland up there. So those were country roads. He said now it's just busy, and it's not pleasant riding. So we don't feel bad missing out on that stretch of the Trans Am. I have a very cool story to share about something that happened last night. So I was working on my videos and had the YouTube site open because I was uploading some, and I got a comment on one. He said, "Hey, I live in the Afton Crozet area, but you're probably past that section by now." And his comment was just posted 10 minutes ago. So I replied and said, "Actually, I'm in Crozet right now." And he said, "No kidding, I'm in Crozet right now." And we ended up meeting up. I shared the name of the church I was staying at, and he cycled over, and we had a good chat for 30 minutes or so. And he met Paul. His name is Ron, and he said he has a house up in Afton near the Cookie Lady's house, and his wife has a house down in Crozet where we were staying for the night. So he knew all about the roads and routes, and just so fun chatting with him and making that connection. And I forgot to tell him this in person, but he is the doppelganger of, I'll put up the picture, Any of you see it? Tony Hawk. Do you see a resemblance there to Tony Hawk? I certainly did. And Ron, if you're watching this, I should have said that to you in person. I can't be the first person who said you look like Tony Hawk. But take that as a compliment. The coolest skateboarder guy in the world. So, an interesting little meetup with a YouTube commenter in person, but it felt totally safe. I was, staying in a public place. Like, he could have showed up with a machete and an axe, cut you into pieces, and put you in his freezer. Ron's not that type of guy. He's not. He's a good guy. Time for a weather report. Wet and rainy. The weather report is over. We keep changing plans today. Now we are going to press on to Richmond. We've done 62 miles today. It's about another 40 to Richmond. That'll mean our second century of the summer. But it's worth it because we have a place to stay instead of searching for a place to stay. We're going to be staying at my college roommate, not True Man, another college roommate, J-Boy's mother-in-law's house in central Richmond tonight. And super glad that worked out. That was supposed to be tomorrow night, and then we debated, hey, should we just press on? Do a long day today. Get to Richmond today. Yeah, 2 yes votes, and that's the plan now. Been on the road 6 hours and 35 minutes, and probably 5.5 of those 6.5 hours have been in the rain. And I rate the rain based on how fast would my windshield wipers be going, and how fast do I see cars' windshield wipers. Is it on intermittent? Are they on always on slow or always on fast? Right now we are at always on slow rain level. It has been intermittent wiper rain, and it has been stretches of heavy, fast wipers needed rain. It's enough to soak through all the way to my socks. I've not turned the camera on much today because of the rain. The amount of traffic is a rare lull in the traffic. I figured any route that we take into Richmond is going to be heavy on traffic. Not much of a shoulder, so yeah. If the camera were on, what would you see? You'd see images of me cowering from the rain. That's what you've been missing. $95 miles down, 10 miles to go. 10 very urban miles ahead of us. They might not be the fastest miles.
Richmond is the largest city we have seen on our trip since leaving Sacramento. I admit it's easier to pick out the interesting nuggets of the small towns instead of sifting through the massive information on such a large city, but I'll share a few. First, Patrick Henry's 1775 "Give me liberty or give me death" speech was written here. The Jackson Ward area in Richmond is dubbed the Wall Street of Black America. Black residents are among the majority in Richmond, and the first canned beer was sold in Richmond, Virginia.
Well, this is kind of nice, Richmond. After that busy road in, I get a little bike lane. Okay. I'm on Malvern Avenue, for those of you who know Richmond well. Malvern Avenue going northeast. All right, going through the intersection, 99.98. 99.99. Century number 2. 100 miles. With 3.7 to go, it looks like. Passing a Top Golf. Boy, isn't this the perfect weather for Top Golf. Although, Top Golf is covered, isn't it? That might not matter. I bet there's people playing right now. Urban Richmond turkeys. Just under that bridge there. I gotta look into that. So what are the positives of riding in the rain today? Well, I don't know, character building. But I think it will make tomorrow's arrival into Yorktown all the more sweeter. Right now there's no rain in the forecast for tomorrow, but you know, I'm not gonna hang my hat on that. But when I arrive at that monument tomorrow, I'm thinking of days like today. 103 miles, raining for 90% of the day, cold and miserable. Like, all right, I earned this. I'm proud of myself.
Here's the daily recap from Richmond, Virginia. First of all, I'm surprised I'm even here. That was not the original plan, but it just made sense, so we pushed on after a 104-mile day. Today's scenery, I would say, was a 6 out of 10. Near the end, it was, just a bit too urban, but up until that point, it was pleasant and nice. The difficulty, given how many miles it was, and in the rain, 8 out of 10. That was pretty challenging. And my overall feeling of positivity, because we're finishing tomorrow, I wish I could say it's a 10, but that wouldn't be completely honest, because I just feel so beat down by the ride today in the rain, so I'll set it at a 9.